So in part 1 of this new series, I was completely lost. And now in part 2 of this new series, I'm still lost, but just not completely lost. Last time I mentioned to you guys that I'm gonna do something about my lostness and speak to a buyer's agent. And I ended up doing that. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what a buyer's agent is, it's basically like a real estate agent, but instead of working on behalf of the vendor or the seller, buyer's agent work on behalf of the seller and they represent you, hence the name buyer's agent. They help out with sourcing properties, even off-market ones, and off-market properties are the ones that don't get advertised to everybody else publicly. They give you the pros and cons of each property, the location, they also run the numbers for you, and some buyer's agent even create a property plan for you, basically like a strategy to basically outline your roadmap to your property investment journey from buying your first property to your 6th, 7th, or 10th, or whatever it is. They also help organize building and pest inspections. They have connections with tradies, solicitors, and conveyancers because to buy a property, there are lots of people involved in the process. You're going to be dealing with a mortgage broker, probably, obviously a real estate agent, solicitor, conveyancer, and so on. So they have all these connections across the state and they basically bring them together to help you on your property journey. So that helps quite a lot with the buying process. And also one of the most important things, they can also negotiate on your behalf. They can also buy a property on your behalf as well. So if you're someone who's not really good with talking with real estate agents, someone like me, if you're not good with negotiating or trying to ask the right questions, they can basically do this for you because they've done it for several other properties. They're experienced, they know what to look for, and this type of stuff can really add lots of value in your property journey. Now, it just so happens that somebody that I already know recently bought a property. They were looking around for several weeks and months, not really having any luck, so they brought on a buyer's agent to help with the process. And the deal itself actually ended up settling a few weeks ago, and this got me thinking, if they've used an agent and they're happy with the agent's services and can vouch for them, would they mind sharing the agent's details so I can get in contact with them? I asked them and they were more than happy to, and after some quick email introductions and some back and forth setting up a time and place, we were able to finally get something set up for the following week. So it's a brand new week and it's a pretty exciting one because today is the first day of my brand new job, which is going to give me a bit of a pay rise, which will definitely help with the deposit side of things. And secondly, I will be meeting a buyer's agent later on this week to discuss property plans and see what they can do and go from there. It's my very first buyer's agent meeting. I've never actually spoken to one before, so I'm not really sure what to expect. I'm gonna come prepared with a list of questions and see where we go. And yeah, hopefully it goes well. Now, leading up to this meeting, things got really busy, more busier than I would have anticipated with my new job and everything. And I didn't really have time to brainstorm or even research the questions that I'm gonna ask the buyer's agent. So very last minute, literally the night before, I went on Google and literally searched up best questions to ask a buyer's agent. I literally clicked on the first link and I copied and pasted those 10 very important questions that you need to ask a buyer's agent in my trusty notes app and basically finished up work and went to the meeting. So after work, I went into the meeting with a buyer's agent. It was very informal. It lasted about 45 minutes and he had recently gotten into being a buyer's agent, but he had been following the property market for the last 10 plus years. He was treating being a buyer's agent as a bit of a side hustle at the moment until he gets enough clients to take his business full time. And at the moment, right now, he is still working full time. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he's doing it as a side hustle until it obviously takes off. He's not a full-on full-time buyer's agent running his own business just yet. Now, I asked about the fee structure because of course that is one of the most important things, and he charges an upfront fee to engage his services. And then if the property settles, he will then charge a flat fee, a flat percentage fee of the property value, with the upfront fee being refunded. So if the transaction goes through, all you end up paying is that percentage fee of the property value. And I'm assuming that if the transaction doesn't go through and if the guy himself has still done some research and helped you out, the upfront fee is going to be non-negotiable. I think that's pretty fair. Obviously, if he's going to do the work, he should be compensated for that. So I'm assuming that upfront fee is going to be non-refundable just to protect his risk. He mentioned that the other buyer's agents out there are charging way higher than what he's charging. Some agents are charging 2.5% of the property value, and he's charging way less than that into the ones. I asked him a few questions about what research he does before he looks for properties, what connections he has, what markets he's looking into, and so on and so on. When I got home that night, I made a quick TikTok video filming my initial thoughts about this whole experience. So I met with a buyer's agent for the first time today. Overall, it was a pretty decent chat. He talked a lot about the process, what he uses to research properties, what connections he has, what the fee structure structure is. The number one thing that I learned from that meeting was the fact that just because a property is there and you personally would not live in that house because of whatever reason, that does not make it a bad investment. When it comes to investing, obviously you don't involve your emotions into it. I should know that firsthand. But when it comes to houses, people often involve emotions, which makes the process harder. One thing that I've learned from this meeting with the buyer's agent in hindsight is the fact that whenever I deal with people in the property space, I'm always going to ask myself the question, how good is this person to work with? Are they someone who is very salesy? They are, trying to, hard sell you on things, and they're trying to convince you very hard? Are they like super energetic and just trying to get you to sign on that dotted line? Are they that type of person? Or are they someone who's actually willing to have a genuine conversation with you to try and understand your goals, where you're heading, and try to understand you as a person? What type of person is this to work with? And after having this meeting with this buyer's agent, I can safely say that this agent was on the latter side. I could actually have a conversation with him. He wasn't trying to, hard sell me and trying to just convince me that this is the best guy to go with. He was trying to have a conversation, which I really, really appreciate, because if I look at the people that I want to be working with, it is definitely not going to be the people that are, very hard sales and that type of vibe. That is just not the people that I want to be working with. So I can safely say that after speaking to a buyer's agent, I have a good introduction as to what they do. And I think the first meeting worked out pretty well. I'm still going to go out and speak to a range of agents to see what else is out there, what their fee structure is, and what their, value proposition is, and sort of go from there. And then I'll make my choice if I even decide to go with one. In the next part of this series, I'm going to walk you guys through the numbers, how much deposit I'm trying to save up, what the purchase price for myself looks like, how my savings plan is, how it's going, how much I'm spending, and how much I plan to save over the next couple of months, and how that's looking like. I know people online love to look at the numbers. So next episode is going to be very interesting, so do stick around. In the meantime, I'm also making daily videos on my TikTok page about this whole experience. I'll leave a link in bio. And if you're new here, you can check out part 1 right here for the part 1 of this series. And I'll see you guys in part 3.